Sunnah followers and everyone watching us online. And Brother Muhammad is here, alhamdulillah. We're going to speak about a very lovely, beautiful, incredible talk, inshallah.
Sure.
And in fact, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, beautiful hadith, he said, إذا أحببته أحبب معه وإذا كرهته فاكره معه. He said, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you love someone, love, but not extreme love. And if you hate someone, hate, but not extreme hate. Maybe that one you love so much, he become your enemy, and the one you hate become your loving one. So that's why we discussed before Muhammad came here, we discussed it together. And to, in fact, to fix our life, if I have love is beautiful, but sometimes blind love,
Yes.
I got a blind love, break the person.
Absolutely.
And the hate also.
Yeah.
You know, the hate, sometimes I hate. He hate, in fact, he physically and emotionally, his heart broke.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we're gonna speak about this topic here for every lovely day, inshallah, with Brother Muhammad.
It's a very good topic, man. You think about the way the world is right now. There's so much hate going on.
Yes,
Right.
I see.
A lot of anger, a lot of hate
And rage
and rage, and everybody's always upset.
and after that, they go the
marijuana, cocaine, crack, whatever can make them feel better. Unfortunately, a lot of the kids, a lot of the youth, a lot of the teenagers, the 20-year-olds, they don't know how to deal with these things. They don't know how to deal with the stress. They don't know how to deal with the anger. They don't know how to deal with the frustrations. And I understand. You know,
yeah.
They come, they explain, they talk, and they say, I see these videos, I see what's happening, I'm so mad. And so how do we balance that out? Right? How do we balance that hate with understanding of how, in Islamically speaking terminology, how do we show some love? Right? How do we talk back to each other with a little bit of love? And when I say love, I don't mean love. I mean like love. Like, you know, you got to respect each other's conversation, right?
And that any kind, that's very important for everyone who watching us. Any kind household, everybody will get married normally. I love her and she love him.
Absolutely.
But after that, wars,
angers,
and I believe with my experience, of course, I'm learning here. I believe any household, no respect in the household, no honor each other,
yes,
appreciate each other,
yes,
the house collapse.
It flips upside down.
With my experience.
Absolutely.
I live in America more than 36, 70 years now. I have many hundreds, but always the tongue makes different.
So let me ask then, because you and I, we both go to houses, we try to fix people, we try to help people's relationships. One of the biggest things I noticed when you go into these houses is they really go culture more than they do religion.
I like that. Repeat it again.
You know, we have this really bad habit. Culture over religion.
Plus a culture in your country, but we live in America.
So then we also have our culture plus whatever social media tells us and whatever the news tells us, whatever the media says or the movies say is what it's supposed to be.
That means the things that change my heart.
Yeah, the more you see something, the more you watch something, the more you listen to something, the more it's going to change you.
Even emotion.
Even your heart. It's easy. It's very easy to switch a heart on and off.
Oh my Rabb. Hadith al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Al-Bukhari al-Muslim. Beautiful hadith. قال in the heart, in the hand of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, يقلبه كيف يشاء. It's changing the hearts. That's why Rasulullah made beautiful dua before salah. اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلب عبدك. Oh Allah, when you change the hearts, change my heart to your ibadah, your worship. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But let's speak about the heart here and how that one. I love that person so and so. I love that, and then I hate that person so and so and so.
It's funny because when we watch the movies, right?
Oh,
When we see
movies.
the movies, it's always the princess, the prince,
Oh,
the lovey-dovey stuff, and the kissing and all this kind of stuff. And when we talk to the ones who are going to get married or they want to get married, their expectations are what they see, right? What they see on TV, what they see,
oh,
what they see on social media.
that's
That's their expectations. Oh, I want this guy to, carry me and buy me the fanciest dresses or and then you see the guys where their expectations are, she has to have, the most beautiful body and the most beautiful face. And the expectations of these men and women are, when you talk to them on an individual basis and when you put them together, it's what they're seeing on social media. It's what they're hearing on TV. It's what their community or what their society tells them what to expect, not what the deen tells them what to expect, right? Not what the Quran already has, the rules of each man and woman, what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to love each other, how we're supposed to like each other, how we're supposed to respect each other, how we're supposed to honor each other.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we have in our deen. But we fall back on culture, right? Culture comes back all the time. I'm a Palestinian. This is how my dad was. This is how my grandfather was. This is how, well, it's a different time now.
Brother, you're right with that. When I came, you were born here. But I born.
You keep throwing that in my face.
No. The key, you are Palestinian, I am Palestinian. And we have almost the same culture.
Mm-hmm.
But you born here, your culture more than even American culture.
Yeah.
Me, I try to be an American, even when my kids, Baba, we are in America. Baba, we born here. So, yes. I tried, but honestly, I failed. Brother or sister, I failed to get my culture to be, except Salah, Ibadah, Islam, yes, in my house. But as a culture, hard.
It's hard because you're coming from a place of a different place. Like you're coming from a different place. You're coming from a different part of the world. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so when you come here, and a lot of people it happens a lot where you see a lot of kids who come from the Middle East who come here to go to college. Right?
And Africa also.
Africa, yeah. Middle East. They come from these countries. They come
for
here.
College. Me myself, I came for college.
They came to college, and you see them coming not just to America but to Europe as well.
Indeed.
And they go to college and they see the freedom. Let's put that in quotation marks because the word freedom is so thrown around so fast, so easy.
Yeah, agree.
We don't know what that means anymore.
Yes,
right?
agree.
Freedom.
Yeah.
And so we see these kids who come from Africa, come from the Middle East, who come from China or Japan. They come from and they see how it is here, and they lose themselves, right? And in this society,
yeah, you're right.
In this society, they use the word assimilate, right? To be like them, right? And to try to explain to everybody, yeah, okay, I get it. Know what they live like, see how they live, but don't lose yourself.
Yes.
Don't lose what makes you who you are, which is your deen, which is your religion, which is you're a Muslim. I don't care where you come from. You come from Africa. You come from the Middle East. You come from Asia. You're still a Muslim.
Yeah. Now, my brother also very important. If I love, for example, mostly men and women, they love when they get engaged. Mm-hmm. They love they love each other so much.
It's always the honeymoon period.
Okay. And even after 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, so they go different country for the honeymoon.
Yeah.
But the key, you can love, but this hadith of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I can love, but not extreme blind love.
Yeah, because
the opposite.
Because you see a lot of it where, like if you walk into a house and you'll see how after 5 years of marriage they have 2 kids and they're starting to fall apart, right? They start to fall apart. They start to get mad at each other. They start to get angry, and then you ask the question, well, why did you guys get married in the first place? Oh, I loved him. He was so nice when he came. He gave me everything I wanted. He did everything for me. He was this great guy, and now he doesn't do this, or he's always working, or he's always at his job. He's never home. You hear these things, and you always say to them, it's not just about love. It's about respect, respect, understanding, and what are your roles, right? As a wife, as a husband, as kids.
Hold on. A very important point.
Roles.
Again,
yeah. What are your roles as a husband and a wife?
I mean, this is very important point. Mm-hmm. Rules. I mean, before the marriage, or now, or what exactly rules?
It's all of the above. right? When you're coming to talk to somebody to get married, right? And
or married. Now we are married.
Okay, now you're married, all right? But did you get married and you got married? Did you explain to that person that you're marrying?
Mostly no.
Mostly no. So then,
I mean, the majority, what I know,
they don't.
I do that in daily basis. The majority, no.
And there's, you could probably tell everybody better than me. What are the rules to what you have to tell somebody before you get married to them?
Any husband and wife, by the way, before we the guardian for her and the man, we have to rules. We're gonna do this, a plan for future plan.
Yeah,
future plan. And a lot of people, because I love her, I love him. This is any kind of this statement. May Allah increase your love, but also impossible to be in eternal love, because that person sooner or later, because everyone has his own heart.
Absolutely.
We're not the same heart. Allah gives us hearts. Everyone have hearts. And some people have two hearts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Double. They have double the pleasure. Double,
and hate. The munafiqeen have two hearts. The munafiqeen, the hypocrites, they show something.
Oh yeah.
And something else behind the back.
On the inside. Yeah.
That worse than kufr, by the way.
Yeah.
Worse than kafir.
Yeah.
So, brother and sisters, very important to ask us this with Brother Muhammad here. We're gonna speak now for that. Really, we have to fix our heart, our love and our hate, because we are human beings.
Absolutely.
We are human beings. Brother Muhammad said, every human being made a mistake.
Everybody. All of us.
In the end of the hadith, the best among sinners, the one make tawbah, repents and go do good after.
Absolutely. And we talk about these things about love, hate, anger, frustration, depression, anxiety. All this stuff comes into play with relationships, right? If you look at people who are super depressed or super angry or what's going on in their lives that makes them this way? What are they watching? What are they seeing? What are they listening to? Right?
Wow. Go back. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Go back to
everything we do, what we watch, what
we watch in the TV,
on the social media, on the news, on the phone. Actually, for kids, and what are we seeing at home as our children? What are they watching? What are they witnessing? As a
but not everyone watching. A lot of parents I know, a lot of parents, they take the phone or iPad or laptop, do whatever you want, because I'm busy. I can't really watch everything.
Yeah. But then you ask yourself that question, and you go out to restaurants and you see this happening all the time, where parents will give their kids those iPads and those phones just to get a couple of minutes of peace and quiet. They don't want to deal with it, or they just got off of work. Not just the tablets and the phones. It's also when you have the TV on, right? And you're cooking and you're doing something, or you're cleaning and the TV's on. What's on the TV?
Oh,
right. While you're busy doing this and you have the TV on, what's the news showing them? Right? Because we look at the news, right? We watch the news. I watch the news.
Me too.
Just to see. For me, it's mostly I want to see the weather. Right? Is it going to rain? Is it going to be hot? They can't even get that right sometimes. I don't like the news because they don't even know the weather.
I have no choice with my family there.
Yeah, no, I understand, but you watch different news, right? I'm talking about the local news.
Local news,
local news out here.
Yeah, I do watch that.
Yeah, when you turn the TV on, you want to see the weather, and a lot of parents do this stuff. They just turn the news on and they see what's going on.
Yes,
and they talk about the wars, and they talk, but how do they talk about it compared to what we know?
Oh,
right. So our kids are listening to this. Oh my God! If you weren't there to explain to your kids what the news is all about and how it's very one-sided, it's very hypocritical, it's very against us, and explaining to the kids, explaining to your youth, explaining to your teenagers, what they're showing you on the news, what they're showing you on TV is not what Muslims are all about.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And because if you were just a person who just watched news only, you would think that all Black people are bad, that you would think all Muslim people are terrorists, you would think you would just think these things in your head.
Yeah.
And you see this happening.
Yes, I see that. Yeah.
You see it in real life happening, where people just watch Fox News, CNN. They watch these news channels, and that's it.
Especially Fox News.
Oh yeah, and that's it. Tell us we're all bad. Yeah. And if it's not what they say is right, then everything else is wrong.
Yeah, Allah.
So they'll always put down the Islamic terrorist or the Muslim terrorist or the Muslim this or the Muslim that. And so our kids see these things on a constant basis, right? Because if you're watching the news and you put the news on and you're cleaning and you're doing something else, you're not paying attention. Our kids are, they're on their tablets, but they're also looking up and they're watching the TV.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time.
The kids are actually like a sponge.
Big time.
A sponge they can catch here and there and there.
Absolutely.
And always in their brain. Yeah. SubhanAllah.
We have to make sure that we're always aware of what's going on with what we have in front of our children. Not just the media, not social media, also what we're doing with each other, husband and wives. Right? How many times have you gone to a house and they talk about their kids being so angry, or they're throwing things, or they're using drugs, or they're so depressed, or they're so angry, and then you walk into the house and you see a relationship between the husband and the wife, and you say, okay, now I know why this kid is the way he is. Right? The father is yelling at the wife, or the father hits the wife, or the wife disrespects the husband. The wife is mad and screaming all the time at the husband, and the husband's quiet in the corner, doesn't say anything. So these kids get these messages from these parents, and then they become, depressed, or they go look outside in the community for friends, or for real, for somebody who can give them something that they're missing, that they're not getting at home. That's what you see a lot of out here.
Also, sometimes a household. Sometimes the man got angry with his wife for the food, for example.
Yeah.
The insulting. But she make food. But you're supposed to, I believe you're supposed to be grateful and thankful.
Yeah.
And in fact, it came to Rasulullah. So some people actually give Rasulullah an iguana to eat. There is food, an iguana. And what Rasulullah, let me just hear the white things, Rasulullah, he just put it in a say like this. He didn't say I don't like it. Just put it in the sense about I move it, and he ate the other stuff. Who there? Khalid ibn Walid, the warrior. Ya Rasulullah is haram. Say no, ولكن نفسي, my nafs, I cannot eat that. It's not haram. Halal, and done. And he ate everything. My point, brother. Yes, sometimes I hate something my wife did, for example. But the key to fix the relationship with your spouse.
How do you approach it?
Exactly.
How do you approach problems in the house?
How to approach your statement to your spouse, husband and wife.
Yeah, both
and son
and daughter. Yeah,
it's very important.
Even when you talk about the grandparents, right? Because a lot of times, we have our grandparents are still alive, and you have the in-laws that come over, or the in-laws that you go to their houses, and you have to have that understanding of, okay, mom, when I'm talking to my kids about this, I need you to have my back. Right, as a father, I would go to my mother and say, hey, look, I'm trying to explain to my kids that this is what Islam is all about. I need you to have my back and explain to them what Islam is all about the same way I'm explaining it. Be on the same page when it comes to talking to your kids about certain things, about how to, how to, and you have a problem with each other, husband and wives, don't talk about it or show it in front of the kids. How many times have we gone to the houses and told the parents, don't fight in front of the children?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Allah, may Allah give mercy to my stepmom. My father had 3 wives. My stepmom, when I'm a troublemaker.
I can barely handle one, so I don't know how.
In America, we carry it. Wallahi, brother, subhanallah. Wallahi, this brother Muhammad, jazakallah khair. My stepmom, she's a decent one. I memorize the Quran through her, not my mom. Yeah, mashallah. But I always, my mom can't understand me to explain, because my mom tough and hit, especially my tongue. Now in not America, in Gaza.
Yeah, of course.
The key, I go speak with her very gentle, nice way. But the opposite of my mom. Yeah. I speak to her, Sitti, like grandma, but she's my mother. I call her mama also. I did this. Speak to my father to explain.
Absolutely.
And she's the best one to explain to my mom and to my dad.
Well, we know
I'm learning from her.
Yeah, but we know also in relationships, it doesn't matter what relationship, husband and wife, you go to work. you're a different person, right? You talk a different way.
Oh yeah, yes,
You know,
yes,
you go, I go, like when I go to the courthouse, I talk a different way in front of the judge.
Oh.
When I work in the jails, I talk a different way when I'm with the inmates. When I'm, when I'm on the road, when I'm like, there's different ways of talking to different people. You talk to your boss a different way. You talk to your peers a different way. Why, when we go home, do we talk that way to each other?
That's
right.
Very important. I believe. Give me attention. I know some people are gonna watch us here. If be mad at me, those kind of people in the household and outside, I'm an angel.
Mhm.
Come home, I'm different.
You're different.
I mean, I'm munafiq. I'm hypocrite.
Yeah.
I'm hypocrite if I do that.
Well, it's also like saying I'm going to help somebody get off of drugs, but then I'm still doing drugs.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, you can't go help somebody, you can't go say something to somebody, and then come home and be the same thing that you just told somebody else not to be.
actually, it's in our area.
Mhm.
A person speak about how the cigarettes is very bad and this
Yeah.
and this and that. And we left the masjid,
Smoking a cigarette. You go to a doctor.
but he died after that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, because he jinxed himself. But you go to a doctor, and you go to a doctor who's really heavy set, very, very heavy set, very fat, very old, and he tells you, hey, you need to lose some weight. How are you going to look at that doctor who's telling you to lose weight? So you can't be a hypocrite. You can't go around talking to people, saying certain things. This is how you should act. This is how you should behave. This is how you should do it. And then you go and do exactly what you told somebody else not to do.
But let's speak about positive here.
So
positively, listen to Brother Muhammad's advice. I'm learning from him and how to fix this kind of hate and love, and hate and mixed.
It's kind of more or less like drawing a, let's say, imaginary circle around you, right? Like a boundary. Understanding that, there's certain people that you're going to let in, there's certain people that you're going to keep out.
Oh, explain that, brother.
Okay, so a boundary is basically like, when we talk about this stuff in class, it's, 3 circles, 2 circles. The inner circle is your mom, your dad, your family members. Then the outside circle is your friends, close friends, and then outside is the rest of the world, right? You don't let people in your circles, certain people.
Yeah.
And you don't give too much love to certain people. The amount of love, amount of hate, there's certain amounts that you give to certain people. Understanding that the only real love that you're going to give out is for who? Right? Love. And then after that, you kind of take care of your family members, your wife, your mother, your household and stuff. And then understanding that this is kind of stuff that takes repetition.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't just happen like this. It takes a time to develop, because you as a husband, as a father, have to really dive down deep into what's going on in your house.
Agree.
Right?
Very, very, very important point.
It's called self-awareness. Self-awareness. Right? Understand yourself. What am I doing wrong? Why are my kids?
Because of this problem.
Yeah.
Allah.
Because of whatever problem that you might have. If your kid's a mess, if you're constantly fighting, if you're constantly angry. People tell me, we don't fight. We never fight. My husband and I were perfect. For the last 20 years, we never fought. No, that's not true.
Impossible.
It's impossible. There has to be something sometimes.
Maybe they are angels. Maybe they're angels.
I don't know. I don't go to people's houses that are angels, But it's kind of like you have to have. There's a reality.
Indeed.
Right. Reality dictates and states that people have to have arguments. People have to have loving moments. You have to have the love, and you have to have the anger at the same time. Right. Anger is the opposite of love. Right. Hate is the opposite of love. So when you're mad, when you're angry, that's because you still have that love for that person on the other side. So you're mad at what they did. You're angry at what they've done. So let's see, how can you fix it what that person did? And it's the way you communicate with each other.
Yes.
Right. And the way you're communicating can really dictate how that marriage or how that relationship is going to go. Is it going to go positive? And you're going to talk in a positive way, a nice, genuine way, and be real, or are you going to be angry and you're going to talk in such a bad tone? So when you go into these houses, the first thing I know when I talk is, when you're angry, what do you do? For me, for them, I tell them, take a walk. Right?
I do that.
Yeah, take a walk, cool down a shway, right? A little bit. Sorry, I thought Arabic sometimes slips out. Take a walk, cool down a little bit, and then go back into have that conversation. right? And then you'll have the husband who'll say, well, if I leave, she'll get mad and she'll start yelling and screaming. We'll explain to the wife, hey, that guy needs 5 minutes to go outside, let him take a deep breath, let him calm down, and then come back in for the conversation. Because you're not going to have a good, positive conversation when you're angry. Right? That's one of the biggest things that we have to explain to people.
But the Prophet Muhammad told us, in any kind of problem like this, shaitan, the third one, there.
Absolutely.
Shaitan there.
Absolutely.
And in this case, you have to, as Brother Muhammad says, very, very important. Jazakallah khairan. Something happened in household, hold yourself accountable for a moment.
Yeah.
Why? Don't say what she did, or she, or he, or she, or him.
Mm-hmm.
No, what I did.
What could I have done differently? Or what could I have said differently? Or what could I have,
See, I did this, I can change it to this, to make it better. So I can judge myself, hisab, before I judge my wife or husband or son.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's very important, that household supposed to be sacred and beautiful. You can bring this. Allah said, وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Argue with them in a very gentle, nice way.
Absolutely.
But it's easy.
It's not easy. It's not. See,
why not easy?
Because we have this. There's like an unspoken thing that people have where we want to go back and forth with each other. We want to be right. I'm right. No, you're right. No, I'm right.
My way or the highway.
The highway, and that's not the way anything works.
Indeed.
Not even just husband and wife, but any relationship. That's not the way it works.
I agree.
Even if you're a supervisor of somebody, as a supervisor, you should know to take the criticism of your employers underneath you and see what they have to say. Maybe they have better options than
approach,
or a better way of doing things, or a faster way of doing things. So as a supervisor, the way you lead people is by learning from what they're saying, getting better understanding of what's happening on the bottom floor, and kind of really taking a step back and understanding that, like, okay, I need to take a deep breath. Let me hear what somebody's saying. A lot of times we listen to just react. We hear only to answer back real quick. We don't listen and wait and say, okay, let me hear what that person is saying. Let me get the tone of how that person's speaking. And then take a couple of seconds, just listen. And it's okay. One of the biggest things I think that we don't like to have is silence.
I agree.
As a husband and wife,
I am that person. If I get angry in the household, for example, I keep it quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I keep it quiet completely. And you try. Okay, Mashi. I always say, you are right. You are right.
But but are you saying it in a way, or are you saying it in a sarcastic way?
No, and right. No, but how is right? Down, my spouse sometimes, or the people I want to fix, they fix the problem with the talk.
And that's the 90% of the conversation. 90% of the problems is communication.
I agree 100%.
It's money and it's communication.
Money, yes, but the communication actually brings money.
Yes, absolutely.
Money is everyone, even rich people have a problem with the money. But also to fix this kind of poverty, if you think you have poor, believe me, communication is the best.
Communication is one of the hardest things, I think, that we don't really teach our kids at a young age. Right? When we go to college, we learn how to do public speaking classes.
Yes, and in college, high school too.
In high school. Well, now they do high school. Back in my days, it was college. We didn't have it in high school. But now we're teaching our kids in high school. We're supposed to be teaching our kids these things when they're coming out, when they're born.
I teach for master's degree and PhD, a course called thesis seminar. How to bring your PhD or master's degree in right way. And actually, our life, a PhD.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone have a PhD in his life.
Absolutely.
Sometimes your PhD is the best. Everybody look at it as a role model, and sometimes your PhD is gone in down. But you can make your PhD best of the best with communication.
When you look at the ways that when you walk into these houses, and we sit down and we listen to the way the husbands and the wives are speaking, and we look at the facial reactions. That's kind of what I look for.
Yes.
I look for the facial reactions of the kids, of the children.
Me too.
You know, the eye rolling or the oh, here we go again, you know, that kind of stuff, to see what is the reality. Because when we walk in, it's most of the time they're trying to be, you know, the best of the best people. Oh, we don't have any problems. Oh, you know, the husband says, oh, we don't have any problems, we're good. Or the wife, oh, we're good, we don't need anything. But I'm here because there is an issue here. You know, your kids are messing up, or you're about to divorce, and we're trying to stop that from happening. There's a reason why that I'm in this house. And it takes maybe 10-15 minutes for me to really see what the dynamic is in the house, and see where the issue is, and get the feel of, you know, you ever walk into a house and you feel that tension, you feel that stress, you feel that anger in that house. And it's easy to kind of just gauge who and where the problem is. And 90% of the time it's communication.
Yes. For us, you just mentioned also very important, the eyes. When I make ruqya of some people, ruqya, any kind of ruqya, especially with kids, with youth. Recently, actually, maybe in the family, when I sit with the 3 kids, actually, I look at their eyes. When I look at their eyes, the middle one, and actually the older one too, they have a jinn.
Yeah.
Why I say jinn? Because normally when I look at Brother Muhammad's eyes, and he looked at my eyes. We look at each other. That when I'm looking to him, and his eyes completely flip, but he's looking at it afraid. Straight eyes, looking to each other. And his eyes, when I read the Quran, I start Surah Al-Baqarah and this and this, and his eyes completely up. And people like me, by the way, I'm a human being. I'm not Superman. Yeah. Believe it or not, I know. I told the parents after that they make ruqya. The father they make ruqya. I said the ruqya here that is not affected, because your problem is to make ruqya and you have a problem. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Fix the problem.
So sometimes the jinn come to the person, or the kids, or the family, for example. Look at the person. If the eye moving continues up, down, and he looked at you, and he's not have a problem with the eyes for that sickness, that means you need a ruqya remedy for your kids.
And it doesn't just come out of nowhere.
Impossible.
Right? It happens because there's a continuous issue in the house.
I agree 100%.
Absolutely. So
a lot of jinn come to the kids because of the parents.
Well, because of the situation that
Sorry. With the situation in the house, no communication, fighting. Yes, agree.
And what are you bringing into your house? Are you bringing in haram? Right. What kind of money are you bringing in? What kind of things are you bringing in? Are you bringing, are you working in haram? Are you doing haram stuff on the outside that you're bringing into the house? Maybe you're working halal, but you're still doing something haram on the outside.
Agree. Plus, when you have a picture in the house, bring jinn to the house.
Absolutely.
Or some people have dogs in the house.
Oh yeah.
I love dogs, but outside
the house. Yeah,
I play with them outside, no problem with that. Yeah. By the way, if the dog play with me, I don't have to wash. Only if the dog ate from this cup, I cannot hear. If they ate or drink of it, I have to wash it 7 times. One of them with the sand, but not the clothes. Hadith Rasul is very important to understand.
Yeah.
Plus, the black dog brings jinn to the house.
I'm learning too. You're teaching me all these things today. Well, you see, we talk about marriages, we talk about relationships, we talk about all this stuff. Right now, during the summers, I think is kind of like the best time to really, dive down deep into what's going on into people's houses, right? To look into your own house. You have 2 months with your kids, right? And we always talk about, what are we going to do with our kids? What are we going to do with our kids? What are you going to do with yourself, right?
I love this statement. The kids. What about me?
What about you?
What about her?
What about her? What about each other? Like, how are you going to use this time? And it's funny because I know a lot of people who are supposed to go overseas, right? They wanted to travel overseas and they said, we can't go. We're not going to go. because we don't know what's happening over there, and they're scared. So okay, now you're here. You're not traveling. You're not going anywhere. You're here.
You're talking about people in America.
People in
or
America.
Actually,
and
some people in Africa here.
Anywhere.
Anyone who's not watching us.
Anybody who has a family. Anybody who's home with their kids. Anybody who's, I don't care. You're from Africa. You're from Middle East. You're from America. You're from Europe. You have your kids with you. It's the summertime. So this is the time you really got to ask yourself, okay, my kids are messing up, or my kids are talking they're not talking the way I would like for them to talk. What do we have to change? Let me look at my house. Let me see what we're doing wrong, right? Because we don't like to look at ourselves. A lot of people, we hate to look at ourselves. We hate to really dive down and to do that self-awareness that I'm doing something wrong. Nobody wants to admit that they're doing something wrong. Think about it. When you're going to somebody's house and you're talking to the husband or the wife and you say, well, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. Do they like that critique? Do they enjoy hearing that they're doing something wrong?
No.
Imagine you as a person, as a man. Let's talk about men, because men, we're the ones that are very stubborn and are very hard-headed. We don't want to think that we're doing anything wrong.
Yes, agree.
Yeah.
Agree. A lot of people think,
it's not me.
I'm perfect.
I'm perfect.
No.
A lot of people think it is, and I'm good, and you're the one you're the reason why the kids are like this, or the kids is the reason the kids.
And she said thing, her.
And she the same thing.
I am always right.
Yeah. And we always go back and we blame social media, we blame the TV, we blame all this stuff. Who is the person that's giving them that access to those things?
Yourself.
So now you have the summer, and you're not traveling. You're a lot of people are staying home, or even if you are traveling, but you're still together, you're still traveling. This is the time where you can say, okay, I need to really dive down deep into my family, have a conversation with myself. When you're making sujood, or when you're praying, when you're down on your knees, think about the stuff that's happening in your house.
Allah. Very important here, the Prophet Muhammad mentioned was sujood. Actually, one of the Sahaba came to Prophet Muhammad have this kind of hardship and calamity. And Rasulullah, I say, make sujood. I have to help yourself or make takbir salah and sujood, speak to Allah.
Speak to Allah, yeah.
Not some people after salah, Assalamu alaikum, wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum, Ya Rab, Ya Rab, Ya Rab. The dua is not there. Dua before salah finished. The dua accepted. The sujood is the best dua. Bravo. The best dua is sujood and before taslim.
Yeah. Because you understand your head is on the ground. You're humble in yourself.
Yes.
And you have to, and that's when you ask the questions. What am I doing wrong with my kids? What am I doing wrong with my wife? How can I improve our lives? And I have now 1 month, 2 months with my family. Let's make some changes. Right? Because whatever you are doing, and this goes to everybody out there, if you're having problems at home, whatever you're doing, and whatever you have been doing for the last 5 years, 10 years, and you still have problems, it's not working. It's time to make a change in whatever is happening in your house.
No. You have to fix myself and my household.
And your household. And it always goes back to that. Fixing yourself, fixing your household. And guess what?
Not to fix your wife and your husband or son or daughter. Fix yourself.
Fix yourself. And then the rest kind of just balances itself out.
Yeah. Also, sometimes also the feeling. But the feeling as they connected to the heart. Not to the brain, by the way. The heart, the feeling. Sometimes I love that person. And sometimes the opposite. For example, some people pray right. I love it so much. Yeah. For example, Saturday, one of the kids led the salah, have a talk. He talked about the kids. He's a kid. Beautiful talk. And then the imam of the mosque said, lead the salah. I was a panic. Wallahi, I was panic for the Muhammad. If he led the salah wrong, because you know me, I have to fight. Then, and أقسم بالله, I أقسم. I mean, I swear, his salah better than me and the imam. Better than me and the imam. Perfect. And he said, Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu alaikum. Beautiful, especially salah. And then I want to know who's this person. And because he's a kid.
Yeah, he ran out of play.
And I saw his father. And I said, brother, what is your son? So, make basketball. Brother, wallahi, the key, I find out after him and his wife. They are excellent couple.
MashaAllah.
Excellent. I saw both of them
Yeah.
actually, and they have 6 boys. Astaghfirullah, 5 boys and 1 girl. And I see the kids. Brother is the key. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And he told me, brother, I fixed myself.
yeah.
And she said, Sheikh Ibrahim, not me. We fixed ourselves for our kids.
Absolutely.
So yes, this is hope.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we look at it as love.
Yeah.
But you have to look at it more like an investment, right? Like an investment into your akhirah, right? You want to raise these kids to be good Muslim kids. For what? For what reason? What do we get out of it, right? Especially if we have a daughter. What do we get out of that? You raise a good Muslim daughter, what happens for you?
Plus also love. For example, I love Muhammad, brother Muhammad. We're not gays, by the way. We are married. We have.
I like that disclaimer, by the way.
Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you love a brother, tell him I love you for the sake of Allah.
Yeah, of course.
Tell him I love you for the sake. I love your sister for the sake of Allah. Sister together. No problem to say that. And this kind of love, but do not extreme love.
Yeah.
Not extreme hate. Not in the opposite. Not extreme, because sometimes Hadith al-Rasul, with that person is not person you can love.
But if you watch a lot of Fox News, then you would see that we're all extremists.
I love to be extreme Muslim.
Extreme Muslim.
But hey, what kind of extreme here?
Yes.
I love Allah and I follow what Allah said, and I love Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I follow what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. That's the best extremist. But extreme in the deen, I have no knowledge about the deen, it's different.
Yeah, it's different. Totally.
Now, for example, in our community, somebody, I'm Salafi. I'm Salafi. But how you deal with the people, the extreme and fadh and the rush and stuff, I have away from the Salaf. What's also Salafi, by the way? What's Salaf? I know it's not our topic, but we just mentioned it. Very important, brother and sister. To be a Salafi, me, my father is my Salaf. My grandfather, my Salaf. My grandfather, my Salaf. The Salaf, the one before. And the one that is Salafi, Rasulullah, when you follow Rasulullah, that means you have to do everything just like Prophet Muhammad and his wives and his kids. And the Sahaba, of course. But how many of us doing that?
No.
So do not claim you are Salafi and you're not following our role model and your father.
Yeah, because none of us are perfect.
So that is.
I think she.
Yeah. So the key to be Salafi, you love to be Salafi. For example, I love being a Salafi. What you are Salafi? I say, I wish I'm Salafi.
Yeah.
Why? I really want to follow what Allah said, and I really want to follow what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. That's key.
Yeah. There's also a way of understanding too when we talk about how religious we are or how good we are.
Yes.
And how, and I've seen this happen a lot of times at the masjids where we want to critique each other, right? We want to give advice to one another, right? And there's a way of giving advice that can dictate whether it's gonna be a good, positive way, genuine way, or it comes out like you're talking trash to that person, or you're saying, you're doing this wrong. And so there's a really, because working in the field that I've worked in for such a long time, people will come and say, well, I said the same thing you say. How come they're listening to you, but they're not listening to me?
Yes. Yeah, my kids.
But it's the delivery.
As it, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that also Bukhari and Muslim. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said beautiful hadith, ad-deen an-nasiha. The deen, the religion is advice.
And that's it.
Advice to each other. And that's who we also, I say for the sake of Allah, for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and for everyone.
Absolutely.
It's good to have nasiha. But
all of mankind.
But Imam Shafi'i said, النصيحة على الملأ فضيحة. To make advice publicly, that is disaster.
It's an embarrassment.
Has to be secret.
Yes.
I didn't mistake. For example, people do salah wrong sometimes. I never speak publicly. You are wrong. in the same time, by the way, I come home, I pray Isha, Salah again,
Yeah.
because I don't embarrass, but I didn't decide.
Yeah.
And our, mashallah, our Imam, may Allah bless him, and I gave him, the beginning, he led the Salah the first time, I gave him advice, and now he followed the advice. But he listened. It's good to listen to the advice, husband, wife, son, daughter, people around you. It's good to listen to the advice.
It is. And if you're going to be that person that gives the advice, how is your approach to giving that advice? How are you genuinely giving that advice? Because a lot of times I've seen it where these people want to give advice and they think that they're better than everybody else, that they're the best of the Muslims, and they're these people that they believe that they can do no wrong, that everything that they've done is perfect. And you have to take a step back from yourself and say, okay, there's no such thing as perfect, right? We're not perfect. None of us are Muslims are perfect. So when we talk to each other, and this is why I think that, I try to explain in the courthouses, and when I talk to these other therapists, counselors, law enforcement people, is the way you're talking to people can really have a profound impact on the end of your discussion. How is that person going to perceive that conversation? Are they going to just say, it's just Ibrahim, he always talks like this? Or is he going to say, oh, that was Sheikh Ibrahim, and he really, I could feel that genuinity, that love coming out of him, right? Because we talk about love. And the way I explain it is like, I have a love to want to help everybody, right? And we know we can't fix everybody. We know we can't help everybody.
Yes.
Well, we can try, right? We can try, we can push, we can try to help as many people as we can, because we know, and that's what I tell everybody when I go to the houses, I need the hasanat. Right? I need the good deeds because I need it.
Yes.
And I'm not a perfect human, right? And so when we look at that, when we talk to each other, when they hear how some of these people talk, you're not going to get that same reaction that you see that I get, right? And I'll give you an example. Going to the schools, and I hear some of the way the Muslim brothers talk, the way that they try to explain the Quran, the way they try to explain why we do what we do, and then I go in after that person and I explain the same exact thing, but in a different tone, and I'm laughing with the kids, I'm joking with the kids. The whole demeanor is different when I walk in. And I do the same thing you're saying. I say the same thing you're saying. I say it the same way you're saying it. Yeah, but they can feel
the approach.
They feel it. They hear you. They can see it. They can sense that you're not doing it, or you're not saying it in a way of coming from a place of love, right? Because at the end of the day, we have to love for our brothers what we want for ourselves.
The Prophet Muhammad says that. Yeah, that's very important on this topic here, especially husband and wife also.
Especially husband and wife.
Sometimes I cannot, and but alhamdulillah, our house, but something, or sometimes I have that dispute, really, but you know what I do? Sometimes I call one of her friends very close to her.
Mm-hmm.
I say, today I have an old brother, I did so and so. I cannot approach to my wife. And not really, but sometimes, wallahi, that sister, mashallah, she called, she fixed the problem.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
And brother also sometimes I did something, the problem is solved. That means that my Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is doing beautiful hadith. The religion is advice.
That's it.
Advice.
That's it.
No problem. Everybody. And plus, another Bukhari hadith. كل ابن آدم خطأ. Every human being make mistake.
Everybody.
But the best one of them is to make mistake, make tawbah, go repentance, and fix your problem.
And you have to want to have your problems fixed.
Yeah.
Right. We as families, as husbands, as wives, we want that person. Like, if I'm going through something, I would want somebody like me to come and try to help me. Right. If I have a problem, I would like for having somebody genuine, somebody who really cares, to come and help the situation. Because at the end of the day, I know, that when husbands and wives are fighting, like you said, who's in the middle of that fight between a husband and wife?
Kids.
The kids.
Yeah.
And the kids are the ones listening, the ones hearing, the ones absorbing all this stuff. And then the son is going to think, oh, well, this is normal. This is how a husband.
When you grow up, you're going to
so you're going to do the same thing to your wife, and it's going to trickle down. The generation to generation.
So, brother, my point here, oh my God, subhanAllah, it's run fast. The key, brother and sister, Jazallah khair, brother Muhammad, brought at this point, we can fix ourselves really. If I have a problem, if I admit.
You have to, and that's that problem.
If I admit I have a problem.
That's
Do not say, oh, my wife, my husband, my son, don't say that. Go to your background. What I really did for my wife like this.
Or my son.
And the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For example, one of the people have a master degree with me, and then from Gaza, master degree, and then subhanallah, I was in the airplane, I was reading the research, his master degree, and I found a lot of mistakes. But the topic about how to defend in Gaza, something I don't want to speak about, about that. But after that, not major mistakes. And boom, 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 boom. And then the moment I arrive, before I go to the hotel, I call him. So, mashallah, you have master degree and this and that. But I cannot accept your master degree, period. Why? We are from Gaza, I'm from Gaza. So yeah, I'm not munafiq. Your master degree is completely fake. Nothing related to the topic. And but I did mistake. I said you did this, but I don't have to tell you. But read your research again, to find your problem. After 1 month, he went to 3 people after that, telling the same problem. And he called me. But unfortunately, I cannot accept it anymore. I didn't accept it. Why? Because he was rough and tough to speak with me. Further, any kind of like, very here, give me attention before we finish, inshallah. I have a question, inshallah. Brother and sister, any household or work, you speak loud to the people, you fail the conversation.
Big failure,
You are big failure with the good, huge voice. Rasulullah, our example, if you really follow the Salaf, Rasulullah very moderate. He angry only in Salat al-Jum'ah, there's an army coming. But when he speak to people in very low voice, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and make it 3 times for the people give attention to them. But a huge voice, that to me with all my heart, ignorant. With my opinion, why? Because there's no way, Jose, for those people to understand you.
Well, just because you're loud doesn't mean you're right.
Exactly.
Right. And that
my point with the conversation between couple.
Absolutely.
So boom, you lose, both of you.
Absolutely.
But scream and listen. Most of the problem, husband and wife come to me. My rules, one person speak.
At a time. And the other person has to listen.
And if somebody cut, please, we have rules.
Absolutely.
And speak again. Allah is my witness. Most of the people fixed the problem fixed.
Absolutely.
Why? Because they're not listening.
And it's funny, I'm glad you said that, because that's something that happened a while back when I was dealing with this family, and I told them the same thing: no talking, let the father speak. And the father, I love my daughter, I love her, she's this, she's that, she's this. And the daughter's listening, not saying a word, and I see the tears, that the crying. And I tell the father, okay, are you done? Yeah, I'm done. And then I said, okay, what's your problem, to the girl? She said, I never knew this. I never knew my father cared that much.
A very important point here. It's a lot of parents like this. A lot of parents, but you know they are suffering sometimes because of the kids.
It's a parallel, and it's a matter of just communicating, just talking. She said it straight up. I never heard my father tell me these things before. And we forget that that's a big thing now.
We're learning today, alhamdulillah, very important, brother, to fix yourself, to fix your household.
Fix your household.
Very good, brother.
Alhamdulillah. You guys have made so many good points. So many points that it's hard to kind of filter in on. Wives, when we communicate with one another, we have to know that shaitan is there. Each one of us got a jinn, and that jinn is there to split us up. So that conversation that you may be having with whatever situation or whatever problem you have, or whatever you want to talk about, you've got to understand. You've got to bring Allah into that conversation in order to make it right. When it comes down to screaming and yelling at one another, sometimes the individual within themselves, that's how they talk when they get passionate. When they get too passionate, they raise their voices. They don't really mean to, but they do. But back in the day of our Prophet Islam, our teacher made a good talk last night. She said back in the day with our Prophet Muhammad, he couldn't talk soft in the crowds because there was no microphones. He had to talk to millions of people, whoever was following him. So his voice was automatically in a passionate state. So I wanted to say that. When it comes down to our children, we have to understand and teach our children to always be themselves. Children have a tendency of play acting. They can be the worst little actors you want to think about. They're the worst little devils you want to think about. They are smart. They're intelligent. They are actually connected to Allah better than we are. So they know how to play games. And as parents, to get to children, sometimes we got to say, sit down, boy. You got to raise your voice to help them to understand, because they're not going to listen to you talking like this. They won't do that. I had an aunt who talked to me like this. My granny says, girl, blah, blah, blah. I understood granny, but my aunt, I played with her. I played games with her, but she wasn't speaking loud enough to even touch my heart. So this is a great conversation today, and I love it. I just love it. Alhamdulillah.
Barakallah. Well, we almost finished, inshallah. You made it. Any final advice for everybody here?
Use this time, I guess, the time of the summer that we have our kids.
Summer?
The summertime. You have the time now with your kids to really and really dive down deep into when you're working, when you're making sujood, or when you're driving, to really think, how can I improve my household?
Myself,
my household.
Yes.
And so when you really use that, and people don't like this. People don't like to be self-aware.
Yeah.
Right? We don't like to know that we're doing something wrong. And so
yeah, a lot of us,
and mostly the men. Men don't like to know. They think,
brother, be fair.
Okay, both of us.
Okay.
Men and women. But we understand something, and I tell this to the guys a lot. And then when you walk into that house, you're bringing the
heat. That's what I agree.
Yeah, the mood, right? We have a tendency to bring our work home with us, bring the drama home with us, bring all that stuff home. That stuff stays out the door. Like, you come in the door, you're a different guy. You're the smiling, especially when you have little kids coming at the door, running after you, and they're coming to hug you. They feel that, right? They're gonna feel that. And especially when you're coming in, you're throwing your stuff on the floor, you're angry, you're upset of whatever happened on the outside. They don't know what happened.
My father, may Allah give rahmah to him, we are 8. We are 3 boys, I'm the older one, and 5 girls. My father, and we have one apartment, one kitchen. The father, he work, and he's a sheikh. If he come home, nothing happened. We play with this, then, and we sleep. We never, even homework, you need homework. That's why, alhamdulillah, all of us, 8 of us, we are good with the school. Why? We never need force.
Yeah.
May Allah give rahmah to all Muslims. I mean, we finish here, brother. This advice, brother Muhammad, this advice is really, you have to apply it in our house. I'm going to apply it myself, inshallah. And everyone, Prophet Muhammad, our example always, ad-deenu an-nasihah. The deen, the religion, is advice.
Absolutely.
And the best one among those people, the one who accept the advice